20th century media theory was naturally mass media theory. It focused on print media, on film and TV. And moreover, it belonged to the age of authenticity. And its core question was, can the media make the people speak? Can they make people more autonomous and society more participatory? Today, after decades of internet and new media, we need an updated media theory, a theory that takes social media into account. And moreover, this theory needs to move beyond the age of authenticity. Media do not simply make people speak or not. They are a new virtual life world that has never been and will never be authentic. Instead, it's a life world inhabited by profiles. In this video, I will outline a media theory for today, reflecting on both mass and social media and using the concept of profilicity. Niklas Luhmann said, "The reality of the mass media, this is the reality of second-order observation." Today we can add the reality of second-order observation, this is the reality of profilicity. And here are 4 examples illustrating this core thesis. First, Idol. More than 20 years ago, in 2001, the talent show Pop Idol premiered on the British TV channel ITV. Its US version, American Idol, followed in 2002. And Wikipedia says, Idol has since become the world's most widely watched television franchise, as well as one of the most successful entertainment forms adapted in over 56 regions around the world, with its various versions broadcast to 150 countries. Idol is just another word for star or celebrity. And celebrity is the new type of personality that was, as Walter Benjamin noted back in the 1930s, created in the new media. And once this new personality is no longer just an exception but the norm, once we all learn how to build a sense of self in the mode of idols, we can give it a different name, the profile. The triumph of Idol as the world's most widely watched television franchise manifests the proliferation of profilicity in and through the media. Let's step back a bit in media history. In the old days, before film and radio, in the age of authenticity, people read novels and witnessed how the protagonists shaped their personalities, how they became unique and autonomous individuals. This genre was called Bildungsroman, a novel, roman, depicting the building, the Bildung, of an authentic self. Readers learned from these media how to build themselves in the same way. Now, when watching and participating in an idol show, we also see how a personality is built. At the outside, all competitors are unknown, average people. They have a very low profile. At the end, at least, the winners have become high-profile idols. The essence of the show is not simply to depict, but much more intensely, as true reality TV, to actually be the life path by which a person becomes who they are. The old Bildungsroman was a fantasy about self-building, whereas Idol is the real, or better, wink-wink, hyper-real deal. A Bildungsshow is the virtual building of the profile. Unlike in traditional TV shows, in the idol shows, people don't simply watch someone sing or dance. People watch how someone who sings or dances is watched and judged. That's the point of the show. The audience, often represented by judges, watches how idols are made by being watched by the audience. The idols are not just seen, they are seen as being seen by the audience. The judges who represent the audience are just as important as the performers in this identity building process. There's a feedback loop. The fans make the idols, and in return, the idols make the fans. Idols is the archetype of a second-order observation reality show. Or more precisely, idols is the archetype of the reality of second-order observation, that is the reality of the media, that is the reality of profilicity. Second example, these theme park photos. These photos, taken by the theme park guy Stefan Swanska, show people watching a performance at the same spot in a Chinese theme park in 2010 and in 2017. The first difference between the two photos is the mode of observation. In 2010, the spectators watched the show directly as first-order observers. In 2017, the spectators, except the child in the foreground, watched the show through their smartphones in the mode of second-order observation. They look at it as it is being seen once shared on social media. The second difference between the photos is the expression on the faces of the spectators. In the 2010 photo, they react smilingly or surprised. In 2017, they are critically focusing on their recordings. My point here is not to condemn the 2017 mode of watching from a perspective of authenticity as inauthentic, or to complain in the words of Guy Debord that the former unity of life is lost forever. In the 2017 photo, people watch the show in a more complex way, and this needs more conscious concentration. The 2017 spectators are not just watching a spectacle, but are busy with identity work on social media. In 2017, the media do not just mediate, they're not just for sharing stuff. They condition what people do and how they experience it. The two photos show how the media changed first order to second order observation. This change in seeing is also a change in being. Seeing is being. Third example, likes, comments, and chats. Most media today are interactive. Viewers of this video also see how many views and likes it has, and they read the comments to see how it's being seen. One of the most popular genres on YouTube is commenting on video games, either played by others or by the presenters themselves. Many media presentations today have simultaneous chat functions where viewers can post or read comments in real time. Especially for younger people, I assume, media lacking such second-order observation functions are simply boring. When the general peer is absent, someone really important is missing. Fourth example, Korean graphic novels. Phi tells me that in current popular Korean graphic novels or comics, the protagonists are portrayed as being watched by a sort of godlike audience, as if they were live streaming. The protagonists interact with this general peer, for instance, by earning money or getting rewards. This too represents a shift from first to second order observation. The mode of observation in social media causes a shift in fictional literature, traditional mass media. Here, too, readers can now apparently relate more intensely, more personally to characters who are not simply seen, but seen as being seen by their general peer. Yes, in earlier mass media, too, protagonists were seen by others. But these others were typically either sincere peers, such as family members or other people the protagonists knew through their personal social role relationships, or they were authentic peers like lovers or friends. Today, in an idol show, on social media, or in Korean comics, we see an engagement with a general peer. The general peer is neither a sincere nor an authentic peer. And it's not a peer who is personally present or known. It's the non-present and often unknown profilic peer. In earlier times, interaction with a general peer an existence in the mode of profilicity, was experienced by some celebrities, maybe. Media today, however, enable everyone to exist in this mode and enter social validation feedback loops with a general peer. You no longer need to be a star. Everyone can take part in the making of one another's profiles. The great error in a lot of 20th century media theory is to conceive of the interactive, participatory nature of media in terms of authenticity as some sort of intersubjective self-expression, or as the public use of reason in the public sphere. Instead, it's participatory profile building in social validation feedback loops with the general peer. An effect of this great error is the dismissal of profilicity as pathological, as morally deficient, narcissism of inauthentic people obsessed with themselves. But profilicity is no more narcissist per se as authenticity or sincerity. Of course, in profilicity we seek validation by presenting ourselves nicely to the general peer. But why is this more narcissist than seeking validation from sincere or authentic peers? When shaping and presenting ourselves, we've always been concerned with our image. We just used different technologies for making that mirror where we saw our image reflected. As I already said in a previous video, a core hypothesis is, however, that profilicity is not a creation of the media. Instead, the media developed in the way they did as a tool for being profilic. The so-called narcissism in profilicity, the concern with creating an image for second-order observation, was not invented in social media. Branding in the economy, for instance, precedes social media. Yes, the media are now used to brand ourselves, to create our profiles. But this human branding is not an effect of moral decay or psychopathological vanity. It results from a shift in identity technology oriented to the general peer. The media are the social space which, like no other, enables social validation feedback loops with the general peer. Today, all social systems are somehow medialized, and as Niklas Luhmann proposed, entered structural couplings with the media. Not only the economy is coupled with the media through advertising to promote brands. Not only politics is coupled with the media to shape the profiles of politicians and their parties. We academics too are increasingly coupled with the media through big data-based platforms like Google Scholar or Web of Science that measure our impact, count our citations, and curate our profiles for the academic general peer. Following Luhmann, the media are an autopoietic, self-reproducing social system in world society. Its function, however, is not just, as Luhmann said, to create a general background reality that is known to be known, or to keep society on its toes by constantly irritating it with new information. Its most important function today is to be the facilitator of profilicity. Media enable social validation feedback loops with the general peer. They allow us to be seen as being seen. Understanding media as the sphere of profilicity rather than the sphere of authenticity has lots of consequences. Politically, it's important to realize that through the coupling between politics and media, politics are now profile politics. This means not only that elections are profile contests, but also that political activism is profile activism. Think of wokeism and its appropriation by the media, or the media-stunned protests of climate activists. It also means that politicians and activists, as persons, identify not so much authentically, but profilically with their causes. Their profiles are at stake. The media, as the sphere of profilicity, do not just condition politics. They also condition what we do and how we live. They condition us existentially. Seeing is being. Media theory, at least for me, is therefore also a step toward an existentialism. It paves the way for a post-authentic existentialism of the 21st century. In the media, under conditions of profilicity, we are no longer sincerely committed to roles or authentically pursuing originality. We are truly invested in profiles. This situation, true investment in profiles, raises new existential questions. How to cope with overinvestment in profiles in the form of media and profile obsession, addiction, or anxiety. How to balance true investment in profiles with the authentic and sincere relationships we still have. How to manage multiple and always changing profiles of ourselves and others. And perhaps most importantly, how to achieve some sort of ease in and through media under conditions of profilicity.